Good morning, dear students. I welcome you all to the social but specially to the history class. Today, we will know about the agriculture and irrigation system of India during the reign of Cholas. Till now, we had covered up about Cholas, how they had established their territory, their empire and expanded it from South India to Sri Lanka as well as Southeast Asia. We had also covered up about the structures of Cholas, and the most important structures of Cholas were temples and sculptures, isn't it? Today we will start with the agriculture and irrigation system of India during the Cholas. After that, you will also know about the administrative system in medieval era. So let's start our today's topic. I hope you will enjoy it. Agriculture. So Cholas used to focus on the development of agriculture. Why? Because agriculture was one of the important aspects of society. Agriculture was an important part of economic as well as social structure, isn't it? So it might be the reason why they had focused on development of agriculture. But this was not the only reason. If we will look closely on the map showing on your screen, you will find that Cholas used to rule near river Kaveri, isn't it? So in that yellow and white map, I have clearly depicted the areas ruled by Cholas near river Kaveri. So there was river Kaveri which falls under that territory. If river Kaveri was there, it means that there will be fertile land as well. Fertile land means wet soil. So in order to establish a successful kingdom or empire, the ruler requires revenue, and agricultural prosperous will increase their you can say system of revenue, because most of the revenue was collected from agriculture only. This is the reason why they had focused on the development of agriculture. River Kaveri and fertile soil are the most important reason for agricultural development by the Cholas. As fertile land is one of the most important feature, in order to increase the production of agriculture. So Cholas were lucky, they had the river Kaveri. As a result, their soil was fertile and it helped them to increase their agricultural productivity. Then in order to develop their agricultural system, what were the steps taken by them? You will know about it. Number 1, large scale cultivation was started. It means that they used to cultivate in a larger scale. Number 2, forest was cleared and forest land was transformed into agricultural field. Number 3, land had been leveled in other areas. It means that in plain surface or on plain surface, agriculture was more and more convenient, so they had leveled the land and made it plain. Embankments were made in order to control flood near the river. They had also constructed canals in order to carry water to the field. So whenever there will be no rain, they use these canals in order to carry water to the fields. In many areas, 2 crops were grown in a year. Obviously, they will grow 2 crops because they had a proper irrigation system. Canals were constructed. As a result, whenever there will be no rain, they will use the canal in order to supply water to the fields. Then, to provide water to the crops, they had done some kind of artificial arrangement. Now, what are the methods they had used for proper irrigation, you will know about it, or what are the artificial arrangement they had made to provide water to the crops, you will know about it. Number 1, wells were dug. Okay, so they used wells whenever there was no rain. They used the water from the wells in their agricultural field. Tanks were constructed to collect rainwater. So rainwater was stored on tanks and they use this rainwater whenever they requires water during dry season or during winter season, you can say like that. Canals were also used to supply water. So these were 3 features or 3 steps taken by the Cholas in order to establish a proper irrigation system. This whole work requires proper planning, organization and maintenance, isn't it? So in order to maintain the issues related to agriculture, there were certain groups of people who were associated with the rulers. So rulers and people living in village look after the activities related to agriculture as well as irrigation. Now, our next topic is all about administration of the empire. So this topic starts with a question, and the question is, how was the administration organized? So you will know the answer of this question throughout the topic. Let's start. I hope you will enjoy this. Peasants settlements were there, okay, and these settlements were known as Ur. So Ur became prosperous with the advent of artificial irrigation, and groups of such villages formed larger units called Nadu. So groups of such villages, that means Ur is a single village. Groups of such villages means groups of Ur formed larger units called Nadu. You can see how groups of Ur in a circle, okay, I have shown as a diagram, and together they had formed Nadu. The village council and Nadu performed several administrative functions, like they used to provide justice as well as they used to collect tax from the farmers or peasants. So, rich peasants of Velala caste had a major control over the Nadu under the supervision of central Chola government or under the supervision of rulers. The Nadus were actually controlled by rich peasants of Velala caste, and they were supervised by whom? The rich peasants were supervised by central Chola government. Some rich landowners were also given titles by the Chola kings, and the titles were like Muvenda Velan, which means a Velan or peasant serving 3 kings. Okay, that means a peasant under 3 rulers. That is Muvenda Velan. After that, Arayar, which means chief. With these titles, they were entrusted with important offices as well. So they had also important role in the society with the titles which they used to get from the ruler. Brahmanas received land grants, and these land grants received by the Brahmanas were known as Brahmadeya. And who used to grant land to the Brahmanas? Obviously the rulers, okay. As a result, a large number of Brahmins settles in Kaveri Valley as well as other parts of South India. Each Brahmadeya was looked after by an assembly. This assembly or sabha was formed by prominent Brahman land holders. These assemblies worked very efficiently. Their decisions were recorded in detail in inscription, often on the stone walls of temples. But there were inscription which helps the historians to know about this kind of sabha, how they used to work. And one of the inscription was found from Tamil Nadu, which states that this sabha, okay, or the group of Brahman landholders which formed this sabha had different committees under them, okay, and these committees used to work in different departments. So there were certain committees which were associated with the irrigation system, certain committees which were associated with temples, with gardens. So in this way this sabhas used to work. So the names of those eligible to be members of this committees were written on a small ticket of palm leaves, and these tickets were put into an earthen pot. After that, a young boy was asked to take out the tickets, and one by one for each committees, okay, this was the selection process of the eligible, you can say, members of the committees. Then this whole you can say fact were written on an inscription which was found in Uttara Merar. And where is Uttara Merar? Where Uttara Merar is in Chingalput district of Tamil Nadu. That's why I have mentioned that inscription from Tamil Nadu describe about the process of this sabha. Then association of traders known as Nagarams also occasionally performed administrative functions in town. So that's all in this particular topic. I hope you had enjoyed it. But if you have any kind of queries, feel free to contact me. Thank you, and see you in the next class with two topics, that is types of land, and another one is of inscription. So these were the two boxes in your book, and I will discuss about this box in our next class. Bye-bye.